Okay, picture this. You're on your daily commute, maybe the 8.0 train, headphones in, staring out the window,
Yeah.
watching houses blur past. Pretty boring, right? Standard stuff. But what if that exact routine, that glimpse into someone else's backyard, suddenly plunges you into, well, into a huge psychological mess? We're talking a desperate hunt for truth, even a murder investigation.
Right, and that contrast, the totally mundane versus the suddenly catastrophic, that's really the core of Paula Hawkins' 2015 book, The Girl on the Train. It absolutely exploded. And today, we're digging into why. We're looking at the sources that cover its, frankly, staggering success, the really intricate plot mechanics, and maybe most importantly, those key themes. The unreliable narrator, which is crucial, and that whole concept of gaslighting. It just hit a nerve with millions.
Exactly. So that's our mission for this deep dive. We want to piece together how this British thriller managed to smash chart records, kind of twist classic mystery ideas, and just completely take over books, film, even the stage. If you want the quick version of why this book was such a moment, yeah, this is where we unpack it.
Okay, so this cultural explosion. When the book launched, US and UK, January 2015, the success wasn't slow. It just, boom, hit the ground running, which, is pretty rare for novels, especially when the author wasn't a huge household name yet.
That speed is kind of mind-blowing. Did the sources suggest why? Like, was there one big thing that kicked it off, or just massive word of mouth right from the start?
It seems like a mix, but definitely fueled by a really compelling hook and, yeah, massive word of mouth. The numbers themselves tell a story. It landed straight at #1 on the New York Times fiction bestsellers list, that's print and ebook, dated February 1st, 2015, basically a week after it came out.
Wow. And it didn't just visit #1, did it?
No, it stayed there for 13 weeks straight. And in the UK, on the hardback chart, it was even more dominant. Held the top spot for 20 weeks. That actually broke the record for the longest run at #1. And by 2021, estimates put sales at around 23 million copies globally.
23 million, yeah. That's beyond bestseller. That's a phenomenon territory.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the physical books or ebooks,
Yeah.
right? The audiobook got a lot of attention too.
Absolutely. It won the 2016 Audio Award for Audiobook of the Year. Really well-regarded narration by Claire Corbett, Louise Brealey, and India Fisher. It just shows how it hit on all fronts, like a total multimedia blitz.
Which is incredible. But all that success, you have to figure, comes back to the story itself, the psychological pull. And that means Rachel Watson.
Exactly. Rachel is our eyes and ears. And right from page 1, we know she's struggling a lot. She's 33. She's battling severe alcoholism.
Yeah.
We're talking frequent, terrifying binges, complete blackouts.
And that drinking, it basically destroyed her marriage to Tom.
Yeah.
He's moved on, remarried Anna. They even have a little girl, Evie. So Rachel's life is just this cycle of, I guess, shame and hiding.
And that shame fuels her routine. See, she's lost her job, but she pretends she hasn't. She keeps taking the train every single day, the 8.04 in, the 5.56 back, just to keep up appearances for her roommate, Kathy. So this commute, it's built entirely on lies, and that makes it the perfect stage for obsession.
Yeah, obsession is the word. The train goes right past her old street, her old house where Tom and Anna live now. Painful. But she also gets fixated on this other couple a few doors down. She sees them as perfect, this ideal life. Gives them nicknames, Jason and Jess.
Which is deeply ironic because their life, it's anything but perfect. It's actually just as messy, maybe more so. Jess is really Megan Hipwell, and we find out pretty quickly she's got this troubled past, lots of secrets, affairs, including one with her therapist, Dr. Kamal Abdick. So Rachel, our unreliable narrator watching from the train, is idealizing a situation that's already a ticking time bomb.
And Hawkins uses those blackouts so cleverly. One day, Rachel sees something concrete from the train. Megan kissing another man, really passionately. But then, the very next day, after a night of heavy drinking, Rachel wakes up. She's injured, there's blood, and she has zero memory of the night before. And then she finds out Megan Hipwell is missing.
Yeah, that structure is brilliant. You get this potentially crucial piece of information, immediately followed by total memory loss. And then Anna, Tom's wife, reports seeing Rachel stumbling around drunk near their street the night Megan vanished. So, boom, Rachel's instantly on the police radar.
Right. And Rachel, desperate to be involved, maybe to matter somehow, she jumps into the investigation. But her methods are, well, they're based on lies, too. She calls Scott, Megan's husband, pretends they were friends, tells the police she saw Megan having an affair. She even contacts the therapist, Kamal, making things up just to get closer, and ends up starting therapy with him.
It's less about solving the crime initially and more about her needing to be seen, to escape the invisibility her addiction has created. But these initial flawed steps are actually what lead us into the real heart of the novel's psychology.
Okay, so this is where it shifts, right? From just a who killed Megan story to something deeper about psychological manipulation. The sources really flag themes like gaslighting, memory, repression, the self. How does Rachel's, unreliability become the way Hawkins explores gaslighting?
Well, gaslighting is all about making someone doubt their own reality, their memories. And Tom, her ex-husband, had been doing that to Rachel for years. He used her drinking, her blackouts, as the perfect excuse. The narrative makes it clear that Rachel believes she's this destructive, awful person because Tom constantly told her she was, blamed her for things during her blackouts.
So when her memory starts coming back in fragments, it's not just about finding clues to the murder.
Exactly. It's about her reclaiming her own past, her own identity. It's this slow, incredibly painful realization that maybe she isn't the monster Tom made her out to be.
Right. And the therapy with Kamal, even though it started, dishonestly, it actually helps her start trusting herself a bit more.
It does. She begins to really question the specific incidents Tom blamed on her drunken behavior. She starts to realize that maybe some of those terrible things he said she did, maybe they never actually happened. Or at least not the way he described them. She realizes he was twisting things, maybe even making stuff up to control her, to make her feel crazy.
Wow. So that moment, realizing her husband deliberately messed with her sanity for years, that's the key that unlocks everything. Her biggest weakness becomes her strength.
Precisely. That's the core psychological twist. Her unreliable memory, the very thing that made her doubt herself, becomes the tool she needs to finally see the truth about Tom. And once that dam breaks, the actual mystery pieces fall into place much faster. They find Megan's body. Forensics show she was pregnant. The big twist, the father wasn't Scott, her husband, or Kamal, the therapist.
Uh-oh. And meanwhile, Anna, Tom's current wife, finds something too, right?
Yes, Anna discovers evidence that Tom and Megan were having an affair. It all starts collapsing for Tom.
And then Rachel remembers that crucial detail.
She remembers seeing Megan getting into Tom's car on the night she disappeared. That connects him directly.
Which leads to the big confrontation. Rachel goes to warn Anna.
Right. And Tom, cornered, basically confesses to Anna, admits he killed Megan because she was going to expose the affair, possibly the pregnancy. Then he turns on Rachel, tries to intimidate her, threaten her, that classic gaslighting tactic one last time. But this time, Rachel fights back.
Physically fights back. She stabs him with a corkscrew.
She does. And then there's that chilling moment where Anna actually helps ensure Tom dies. She steps in, sees it as protecting her daughter, Evie, from him.
So in the end, Rachel and Anna stick together. Their story holds up.
They corroborate their stories, frame it as self-defense, and importantly, Rachel decides she needs to quit drinking. It's presented as her finally reclaiming agency, even though it came through this horrific ordeal.
You can see why it resonated. Critics seem to get that depth, too. It won the 2015 Goodreads Choice Award for Mystery and Thriller.
Yep, and Kirkus Reviews gave it a starred review, saying it would shock even the most astute readers. High praise.
Now, inevitably, because of the unreliable female narrator and the dark suburban themes, people immediately compared it to Gone Girl.
They did, constantly, but Paula Hawkins pushed back on that comparison quite strongly. She made a really interesting distinction between her protagonist, Rachel, and Gillian Flynn's Amy Dunn.
What was the core difference for her?
Hawkins described Amy Dunn from Gone Girl as a psychopath, someone incredibly controlling and manipulative, smart, cunning. Amy's actions are calculated, planned.
Whereas Rachel,
Hawkins said, is just a mess who can't do anything right. And that difference is key. The Girl on the Train is more about vulnerability, addiction, the effects of abuse. It makes Rachel, despite her flaws, maybe more relatable to many readers than Amy's cold brilliance. It's less about calculated evil, more about damage and survival.
that relatability must have helped it travel. You mentioned 23 million copies worldwide.
Definitely. Foreign rights sold in, I think, 34 countries, translated into dozens of languages, Arabic, French, Hindi, loads more. It became a proper global IP.
And the adaptations came thick and fast, too. The movie rights were snapped up really early.
Yeah, DreamWorks got them in 2014, even before the book was officially out. The American film adaptation came out in 2016. Big production, starred Emily Blunt. They did shift the setting, though, from the UK suburbs to the Metro North Line area outside New York City.
Was it faithful otherwise? I remember hearing about one change that maybe altered Rachel's arc a little.
That's right. There was a key difference in how Rachel finds out the full truth about Tom being fired from his job, not just for incompetence, but for multiple affairs. In the book, it's tied much more to her own memory recovery, her internal journey back to trusting herself. In the film, she finds out more externally through, like, a chance meeting with the wife of Tom's old boss.
Okay. So maybe slightly less emphasis on her internal victory.
Arguably, yeah, it kind of externalized something that was very internal in the novel. Still, the core concept clearly worked across cultures. There was an Indian adaptation in 2021, directed by Ribu Dasgupta, released on Netflix.
Oh, interesting. Did that one keep the UK setting?
It did, yes, but it reframed the main characters as non-resident Indians, NRIs, which adds another layer, exploring that diaspora experience within the thriller framework.
And it even made it to the stage.
It did. A stage play adapted by Rachel Wagstaff and Duncan Abel premiered in 2018 in the UK at the West Yorkshire Playhouse. It's toured quite a bit since then, even internationally. Just shows the power of that core story structure.
So, wrapping this up for our listeners, if you take one thing away, it's how this novel masterfully uses a protagonist defined by her unreliability, her addiction, her memory gaps, her self-doubt, and turns those very weaknesses into the tools she ultimately needs to uncover this really insidious long-term gaslighting and, yes, solve a murder. It suggests truth can sometimes only surface through flawed perspectives.
And think about the train itself, that central image. It's the space of routine, of detached observation, almost voyeurism. Rachel's trapped on it, watching these hidden lives unfold.
Right. So maybe a final thought for you to chew on. Given the train is the key mechanism here for obsession, surveillance, and finding the truth, what does that suggest about all the little dramas playing out in public spaces every day? The ones we glimpse but maybe don't understand or even remember correctly?